none of the bodies had any external penetrating wounds. What the fuck is happening?
No external wounds. See, this story just gets insaner by the minute. So that means nothing from the outside seemed to have hit them. All right, today we got Russia's most haunting mystery by Papa Meat. Shout out to Papa Meat. Don't say it like that, bro. Pause. Let's unpack this.
To the Papa Meat channel. How you doing? How you doing? Come on in and sit on.
What's up, Big Papa?
Today we're talking about hiking. Well,
hiking?
Kind of. There's always been some kind of crazy hiking stories, right? The Donner Party being one of them, which resulted in some kind of weird stuff. Or even the guy who...
Cannibalism. Hold on. Run that back. I don't know about that. How to avoid cannibalism in the Sierras. Hiking in the footsteps of the ill-fated. There's cannibals when you go hiking? Oh, that is scary.
Donner Party being one of them, which
Donner Party
resulted in some kind of weird stuff. Or even
Let's talk about that one.
Not necessarily hiking, but went out and rode bicycles in 127 hours.
That story is insane too. I still gotta watch that movie. Bro lost his arm in the cliff and survived 127 hours, bro. Nah, I would have been like passed out. I would have went to sleep until I died, bro. Like, I'm like, dog, I'm done.
Or story about getting trapped and
done.
having to cut off your arm and drink your piss and all that kind of stuff. So all I'm saying is that hiking is a very peculiar thing. Today, hiking is involved in one of Russia's craziest and most controversial mysteries. Which this time in Russia, it was the Cold War era. Right after World War II, all the way up until the 90s, there was a big period of time where people were talking about secret experiments, super weapons, all kinds of crazy
I just watched the history movie.
God damn it, if the world wasn't absolutely horrified of them. Which even this Cold War era is it's considered the Russian Area 51. It's perplexed people for over 50 years now, and people think that all kinds of crazy supernatural things have happened, from aliens to cryptid monsters, anywhere between on the spectrum of conspiracies. The Cold War Russia era, it falls pretty much right in the middle of that. We're going to be talking about 9 students from a nearby Polytechnic Institute who went missing during a skiing trip.
Went missing
later with missing clothes and
Oh, I think I heard of this, bro. They went, bro, this story is insane. But I think I heard it one time. They went missing. They were naked and see, I don't remember it enough. I know it was crazy. And they were butt naked. They all like convinced it. They all like convinced themselves to go to a place or something. And then they started taking their clothes off, like voluntarily or something like that. And then they like died or disappeared, or I don't know. This was a weird story, but I heard it. But I just, maybe this will give me a reminder.
Into the bodies, even though the campsite looked largely undisturbed. To this day, no one knows what happened, and some people think that we will never find out. And this has become the incident known as the Dyatlov Pass. And I'm going to let you know right now, I'm going to mispronounce a lot of Russian stuff. I can barely speak English, and it's all good.
I was about to say I mispronounce English stuff, bro, and I speak English.
The names up on the screen.
It's all right, man.
Justify it later. The Dyatlov Pass. This incident, no one really knows what happened.
Dyatlov Pass. And I think this story has something to do with like concluding it was aliens or something, or I don't know.
I don't think that we'll ever truly know what happens. But I'd like to talk about some of the conspiracy theories today because this story is extremely interesting. It's full of so many questions.
I know I heard
and
this
not
story.
Enough answers to where I think that's where it lets people run wild with their imaginations.
I love stories like this.
Come up with your own answers as well. The year is 1958 in Soviet Russia. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm trying to make it sound like a Disney thing where it's like it's 1985 and you're in Los Angeles, California. But no, the year is 1958 and you're in Soviet Russia, which I imagine is cold and people are eating potatoes and drinking vodka. Igor Dyatlov, for whom the incident is named after.
Look, bro, Russians is so hard, bro. Like, this man's smiling with snow on his face. Like, they built different in Russia, bro. Like,
Igor
goodness.
Dyatlov, for whom the incident is named after, is studying radio engineering at Ural Polytechnic Institute in Yekaterinburg, Russia. Like I said, stay with me. I swear.
I got you. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, bro.
Hand, we'll just say gibberish. One of the leading technical universities in the country, UPI turned out top-flight engineers to work in nuclear power and weapons industry, communications, and military engineering. Young Igor, who was 23 at the time, was an inventor, a tinkerer, and an outdoor enthusiast that had an idea. He proposed and planned a 16-day cross-country skiing expedition through the Ural Mountains.
16-day
Western Russia and Siberia. Siberian wilderness.
No thanks.
How many times someone said that when they're like, don't with that? Or even
I did always want to do a trip where like I climb a mountain or a hike that's like where you have to camp in the wild too with a tent. but not 16 days. I think at most 3 days, bro. If there's a mountain where I can hike it in 1 day and then it'll take a day to hike down, I would do that. I think that's the most I would do. But 16 days is crazy, bro.
2. Serbian film. Good movie. Which means this mountain range separates Europe from Asia. It's a big deal. It's a big mountain range, all right? I'm just trying to let you know it is the literal line in the sand. This was not the first big wilderness trip that Dyatlov had conducted, and he often used equipments he had invented or improved on during these excursions. But for this trip, the skiers had to ski over 200 miles on a route no Russian had ever taken before.
200 miles.
You know, people could have done it, but
This
they
is
might have
crazy.
died or had something similar happen to them that was never documented.
Insanity. I think it's just the fact of exploring. I had the same thing thought of like when I watch people that go through cavers. You ever see the cavers go through tight spaces? I just watch those and be like, why? Why? Why?
Dyatlov designed the trip to be as hard as possible so the group could all get certified as grade 3 outdoorsmen, which is the highest level of some kind of Boy Scout ranking for Russian people that I don't know. And if you want to put a little blurb here, you can, but basically, it's tough.
To be grade 3 outdoorsman, you must participate in outdoor education program, learn and practice fundamental outdoor skills, develop leadership abilities, seek mentorship, take relevant courses, gain hands-on experience, prioritize fitness and continuous learning.
And you get a big badge. You can feel like a man.
That's cool.
Video was sponsored by Aura. Now
Aura.
listen up. There's bad people out there.
Hey, if you're looking for Aura, just look at me, bro.
Spammers and all the
I got plenty of it.
alike. And I don't want to scare you.
Plenty.
I've been using Aura.
It's alright. I've been selling my information for years, bro.
Olaf recruited his classmates Zena, Komagolova,
Zena,
and 7
this
other
is the
students
crew
who
that's
were
gonna
close
die.
friends or acquaintances with Dyatlov. They were all experienced.
Why the other
with
people
their
don't get
campers and
introductions? They only introduced a girl? That's it?
country skiers. One of them even,
Oh, okay.
Georgy
Georgie.
Kazimierz, was an engineer at
Close enough.
Mayak Nuclear Complex
It's like, no.
in the secret town of Chiachibit 40. I gave up way too quickly. That's all right. It was a birthplace of the Soviet nuclear weapons program after the Second World War, and this place at the time was completely hidden and not visible on map. The identities of the 100,000 people.
Oh, it wasn't on the map, is what he said?
This place at the time was completely hidden and not visible on map. The identities of the 100,000 people living there were erased from the census. This happened for decades. So what's kind of interesting so far is we're getting into a
So this map didn't exist in Russia's eyes? Like they weren't part of citizens of Russia or what?
spot where all of these people are very smart engineers. I mean, even Dyatlov, Igor, an inventor, a tinkerer, all of his friends go to
They're
these
all
school of nuclear
engineers.
power programs. And it's just
Yeah.
it's building a theme. These people know too much and they're traveling in a certain area. What a delicious setup, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, well, we're all just nuclear physicists who work
Yeah.
with nuclear grade weapons and arms.
It's just weird that these group of smart people decided to take this weird of a trip in the first place together. Like, let's all hike 200 miles to this unmapped territory that Russia doesn't really map it out yet. Like,
Wanna
bro.
go skiing or what's going on with that? A few days before the group took off, however, the UPI administration added a mystery man to the expedition.
A mystery man? Oh, see, I didn't know the details of this story like that. That's crazy.
Semyon Zolotrayov.
He did it. He's the alien, y'all.
No one knew why. He was a
Bro, this is a group of friends. I'd be like, nah, who is this guy? Who invited him? Well, I wouldn't say it like that. I would bring other friends to the side and be like, yo, did y'all invite him? Oh, did you invite him? Why is he going? Bro, who is you? Nah, none of us invited you, bro. Nah, bro. Nah, actually, we're gonna take another trek. My
veteran
bad,
of the
bro.
Second World War with
I
a
ain't
curly
bringing
mustache
him.
and odd tattoos. And at 37, he was also much older than the rest of the people going. The average
And
being
he
in
was
the group
older.
around 22
Look,
years
everyone was 20, 23, 23, 24, 23. And then he 37. What is it? No, I would not bring him. Bro, look, what is this grown man in our truck for? No. Nah, this little spy rat, bro. Let me look at everybody else that went. Okay, I got you.
You know, like
Dang.
college people. I'll tell you what, dude, Simon, even in this picture, he looks mysterious. If this
Yeah.
was a guess who map of who farted, he would definitely be the person where he's just like, it wasn't me, I could have been me, I don't know. Tell you what though, Yuri, he's got some ears on him.
He can hear.
Damn. Igor looks like a frog. With all this out of the way, the trip finally sets forth. The trip officially took off
Dang,
on
that look
January
crazy.
23rd,
That look crazy.
1959. And up until the point of the disappearance, the trip was very well documented.
Are these actual books, pictures of the trip
The group
itself?
kept a communal journal, and most of the people
That's fire. Even somebody had a journal of what happened.
going kept individual journals as well. And at least 5 of the
That's fire.
hikers had cameras on them, and most of their pictures depicted a group of young people
And they took plenty of pictures. This is clean.
Beautiful and energetic.
It's crazy that it's so greatly documented of this mystery. Usually mysteries don't have much documentation. They took pictures. They wrote down journals. It's almost like they knew they were about to disappear. This was their last trip. Like, most people on a trip ain't doing all that.
Like something that horror films are made out of. Like, this is the part in the movie where they're just like, everybody's all laughing.
Yeah, everyone's happy.
Dude,
Music's
ask
playing.
her out this weekend. He's like, shut up, Igor. Maybe I will.
Yeah.
Yuri. Maybe I fucking will ask Simon off. 3 days in, a man named Yuri Yudin was experiencing severe sciatica and had to abandon the trip and head home. Ironically, the person most likely to die on the trip had become the only person from the group to survive, which Yuri...
Oh, wait, he didn't go.
Yudin was experiencing severe sciatica and had to abandon the trip and head home. Ironically,
Oh, he abandoned halfway through.
the person most likely to die on the trip...
And he stayed. Oh my God, that's even better, bro. The fact that he went on the trip, it's like a lot of theories, like I said, with the documentation they had too, they even had a person that went on a trip and turned around. That's even further proof that everyone here existed and this truly happened. Like, he was the one that actually went, turned around. And the fact that they all took pictures and had books. And he's also proof that, you know, this really happened. I went with them and I turned around, but I'm still alive.
Had become the only person from the group to survive. Which Yuri coincidentally died in 2013 at the age of 75, which is kind of a, I mean, who cares? After he was gone, there was 9.
Bro, kind of disrespectful.
Still continuing on their skiing expedition, waiting to have the time of their life so they can use wood and go down slopes of ice skiing. The trip had been easy, but they had yet to ski far distances and camp in the snow. The group was on track to meet their goal, and according to Dyatlov's itinerary, they intended to reach the tiny village of Vizhai around February 12th. Leaving Vizhai, the group officially went off grid and into the wilderness. Dyatlov promised to send word to the university when they arrived on the 12th, but a telegram from the group never came. 8 days later, on February 20th, a search party was finally released.
February 20th.
February 25th is when we get our actual incident of what is now known as the Dyatlov Pass. February
25th.
An odd scene was found. An abandoned tent was discovered with
wow.
personal items.
We got
food,
pictures.
And equipment inside. Food was laid out as if it was about to be eaten. Ski boots, axes, and equipment were neatly placed on
This
either
is
side
insane. This is where it gets weird.
door of the tent. The crew's cameras, journals, and clothes were stacked and neatly folded and left behind.
Yeah, neatly folded. Yeah, that's the part I remember. They took their clothes off, folded it, and put it there like... And then it says they had their food ready to be eaten, all organized. Everything was organized, bro.
The tent was found on a remote mountain referred by the Soviets as Height 1079, but the indigenous people of the area called it Kolot Skalk.
Okay.
Or Dead Mountain.
Dead Mountain.
Crazy. The indigenous
Dang.
people are just like, up there? You mean they went up on Dead Mountain?
Yeah, they did.
I wouldn't do that. But the biggest
they
question
did.
began as everything's left behind. Clothes are neatly folded. So are the
Yeah.
journals. I mean, everything looks like this is like an active campsite. But the biggest question
that's
was,
insane.
where did everybody go? After they dug the tent out of the snow, there was numerous slashes found all over the tent. About 100 feet downhill, footprints were found of 8 to 9 people walking toward the tree line.
Footprints.
Weirdly, almost all the footprints showed that the students walked either barefoot or in stockings through the snow.
Wow.
This is already building to be something crazy.
Yeah.
Now, an active campsite, they're all smart people, but now they're finding footprints that are barefoot or in stockings. They're not even wearing their shoes. What the hell could have been?
They all butt
why?
naked.
Like, why? One person to be wearing a single ski boot. The search party followed the prints for 600 to 700 yards, and then the footprints just vanished. The next
Disappeared.
morning, searchers found the bodies of Krikovanchensko and Dronskensko under a tall cedar tree at the
They found their bodies. Artist rendering. Oh, they just laid out? Thought the prince disappeared.
Krikovanchensko and Dronskensko
Okay, they found the 2 boys.
under a tall cedar tree at the edge of the forest. They were found next to a dead fire in only their underwear. But above in the tree, there were broken branches, and on the trunk of the tree, bits of skin and torn cloth were found. Later that day, 2 more bodies were found, Dyatlov and Kolmogorova. They were farther up the slope, facing the direction of the tent with clenched fists. It appeared that they had died walking back towards the tent. And a few days later, the 5th body was found. It was Slobodin. These fucking pictures are gruesome, which we have to blur them now, but we will.
Oh, there's real pictures of their bodies? Oh, these are real pictures. He's covering it with the art on top. These were really them.
Dyatlov and Kolmogorova.
I thought he was just drawing pictures on top of like empty pictures of snow.
They were farther up the slope, facing the direction of the tent with clenched fists. It appeared that they had died walking back towards the tent. And a few days later, a fifth body was found. It was Slobodin. These pictures are gruesome, which we have to blur them now, but we will have them uncensored and up on Patreon. Feel free to sign up there. You'll be able to look at the Outlaw Pass pictures free. Don't look on the website. Go through me. After looking at all of the bodies, we finally got into the autopsies of the bodies. People were able to take them off the mountain and see, and the pictures are pretty gruesome. So I will say, viewer discretion advised if you...
Viewer discretion advised, y'all. Is he about to show us? Show me, bro. As the following content on the Outlaw Pass incident may contain graphic images, descriptions of dead, deceased individuals, potentially causing distress to sensitive viewers.
Do go look at them because, you know, they're fucking dead bodies. I don't know what to tell you. Which, the autopsy of the first 5 bodies...
Okay, yeah, he's not going to show us. He's saying go to his Patreon to see him, but, like, he's going to draw these cartoon versions.
Revealed bizarre results. All 5 students appeared to have died from hypothermia, but something didn't feel right. Krivanjana's skull had blackened fingers and third-degree burns on his shin and foot, and inside his mouth, a chunk of flesh from his hand was found.
Ooh, chunk of flesh from his hand. Ooh.
Doroshenko's body had burned hair on one side of their head and a charred sock. And all of the bodies were covered in bruises, abrasions, scratches, and cuts. When they found Slobodin's body, he was revealed to be the one walking around in sock and a boot. His autopsy showed he had also a fractured skull.
Oof. Oof, okay.
Following these findings, a homicide investigation was underway. This was led by prosecutor Lev Ivanov. During this time, a seamstress looking around noted that the slashes came from inside the tent. This meant that the people inside were escaping from something.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I forgot. Bro, I completely forgot this story. But yeah, they cut inside to get out the tent. Like, they cut the tent to get out of it.
Again, the question arose, from what exactly? Somebody locked them in somehow. They were apparently locked in enough to where they felt like they had to slash their way out. So realistically, I'm thinking...
Bro, the story that I heard is they did everything voluntarily. They weren't escaping from nothing. They, like, voluntarily did it.
Thinking that maybe, I don't know, delirious, something crazy where they thought something was trying to get them, and
or at least I think
out, so they cut through the tent. It's very odd, especially the idea that they all ran away and they were all affected. If it was just one person, you could see like, oh, maybe some kind of drug was administered, some kind of like weird psych.
That's my thought too, was like maybe as these college age folks decided to go in the mountains, somebody brought drugs and was like, yo, we all just gonna hit these mushrooms. We all gonna hit this, I don't know, bro. At the top, bro. And then they just all went crazy. Possibility. But you would think the autopsy would detect that. They would know that.
Psychosis or something, but it's odd. It's odd that they all also went 600 to 700 feet away from their tent, which was
got naked.
Well managed. They had been perfectly documenting what they were doing so far.
Yeah.
But now it's just like...
Yeah, and they all had journals. Somebody in the journal would wrote, yeah, we're about to take this,
one random night. There's
monkey
all
piss
these different things that indicate
go
that
crazy.
There was some kind of, not only disturbance, but a altercation, a struggle. There was a couple theories early on in the investigation. One of them being the Gulag escapee theory. The area where the bodies were found were close to a few of Stalin's prison camps. An early theory was that an escaped prisoner encountered these students and brutally murdered them. In fact, Del Gulag was extremely close.
Escaped prisoner?
That no one escaped, and also the fact that everything was left as it was at the campsite ruled this theory out. Which, it is kind of crazy that they were by one of Stalin's prison camps, but still, it doesn't explain like why everything was still folded. And also, a group of 9 20-year-olds couldn't overpower one man. Even if someone did get hurt, or like,
big facts, big facts. You're not pulling that off.
The next theory was that Yuri Yudin did it.
Unless everyone there is punks or scared, or maybe they freeze. But nah, you're not pulling that off.
Yuri was the only person who knew exactly where the group was heading, and he was also the only person from the group still alive.
Yuri was still okay, the one that turned around. Yuri did it. Oh, they saying Yuri did it because he turned around early. He's the only one that lived.
Person who knew exactly where the group was heading, and he was also the only person from the group still alive.
Yeah.
Many believed his back pain was a ruse. So now the guy who bailed out early, now people are like, what the f do you know? And he's like,
I don't know.
I left because of my back pain. What the fuck?
That's actually insane.
But when they brought him out to the campsite, he was deeply disturbed by what he saw.
Yeah.
And he noticed something that no one else had. Some of the hikers were wearing clothes that weren't their own.
Weren't their own. That's part of the story that was weird. They were wearing other people's clothes together.
Is a f***ing bombshell. Not only is Yuri seeing all of his friends dead.
Insane. I didn't know there was a survivor. Insane to bring him back. And he's like, wait, that's not his shirt. Why is he wearing her shirt? Why is he? That's so crazy.
Much. But now also the realization of being able to look past the burns, frostbite, all the horrible shit. He's also just like, that's not his shirt. That's like his shirt. Like they swapped clothing somehow.
That's why he lived to even tell them that. They wouldn't have known that detail because they didn't know what each person was wearing. Oh wow, this story ties together. Crazy. It's actually a crazy mystery that's actually real life. This sounds like something out of a movie.
So many super compelling mysteries unfolding. My God.
Yeah.
Yuri also had an alibi that he was visiting his parents in his home village after abandoning the trip. This proved to check out, and he was cleared of all.
Now I watched enough Conan episodes to know that's not a good enough alibi. You could still do
the
it.
Investigations. Another theory was
we gonna let it slide.
Land theory. The Mansi were native people that lived near the area where the bodies were found. It was thought that the hikers might have stumbled upon a sacred land which angered the Mansi and led to their death. In addition, the group had 2 women with them, which could be viewed as even more of an affront. Because the Mansi don't like women. I know that's not very PC, but the Mansi don't seem to care, all right? But the Mansi were very helpful through the investigation. I mean, they were very communicative with the detectives. You know, there was really no reason that they were trying to hide anything. They seemed like they were just doing nothing but helping. Also, they said that the land was not sacred at all, and it was actually viewed as barren, useless stretch of land. The night of the group was supposedly killed. Many Mansi reported seeing a huge fireball shoot across the sky. A huge fireball. What does that mean? It almost makes it seem like a rocket, like a missile or something, like some kind of thing like that. Or an alien. Are we getting aliens involved now? Could be. This was the last photo captured by Yuri film roll. It was a different Yuri. There was 2 Yuris. This was the guy that was actually part of the group, and this was one of the last photos, which is like a blurry kind of image showing something, but it does look like a bright light. Don't know what it is exactly. Not the best photo quality, but if I was a betting man, if I had to be legitimate about it, I'd say it's a UFO. Which also leads the question, did they see something that they weren't supposed to? Once again, the question still arises, what happened? I threw a lot at you, so to recap, 9 experienced skiers supposedly fled the tent in the middle of the night. During a blizzard, mind you. Don't know if I said that. It was during a blizzard. It was also negative 20-degree weather.
Freezing.
And most of them were not wearing clothes, just underwear. By the way, the clothes that they were found with were not theirs. They were other people's. They were either bare feet or in socks. Some people had burns. Others had fractures. And these people were all acutely aware of the consequences of the snow and weather and what would happen if they left their tent during these conditions.
Yes, and they cut their tent open.
They weren't, they had plans for this. This was all planned. There were only 9 noticeable footprints in the snow, suggesting they were the only ones around with whatever took place. So far, only 5 bodies have been found, and 4 are still missing.
4 are still missing.
The snow finally begins to melt. And a few months later, a Mansi hunter found the remaining missing 4 bodies in a makeshift snow den, 250 feet away from the cedar tree where 2 other bodies were originally found. Pieces of tattered clothing were strewn around the area. Another search team uncovered a piece of flesh. The excavation uncovered the 4 remaining victims, all lying together in a rocky stream bed under 10 feet of snow. The damage found
under 10
feet
feet
of
snow
together in a rock.
Look at this depiction. They were like all together. They were like kind of hugged up. And then she was right there.
Stream bed under 10 feet of snow. The damage found suggested they were beaten by a large, blunt object. Which now...
They got beaten.
Because they found the other 4 people, there was a second round of autopsies. 3 of the 4 bodies had catastrophic injuries. The medical examiner said the damage to the bodies were similar to, quote, an impact.
Oh, this is the part that's so weird. An impact of like a strong vehicle or something.
Of an automobile at high speed. And that's
like what about to hit you that hard, bro? What hit them?
Fucking crazy coming from somebody from 1959. You know what I mean? Somebody's just like, I could only equate it to one of those large metal beasts driving as fast as it could.
Ow.
Brignoli's skull was fractured and smashed so bad that pieces of the bone were driven into his brain. Both Zolotaryov and Dubinina chests were crushed and had multiple broken ribs. And both with, the broken ribs and the crushed skull and all that kind of stuff. They were both missing their eyes. Both
their
of them,
eyes.
no eyes.
We're going.
Dubinya's autopsy also revealed they had a massive hemorrhage in their
heart. That's insane.
And Dubinya's tongue also was missing from her body.
In her
the
tongue.
The thing was, though, even though
What is this?
all that is pretty odd, was that none of the bodies had any external penetrating wounds. What the fuck is happening?
No external wounds. See, this story just gets insaner by the minute. So that means nothing from the outside seemed to have hit them. But they have these excruciating, damaging damage. Dog, this is insane, bro. It's insane. I forgot majority of this story.
What is going on? Looking closer, some of the victims were wearing clothes from
How do you know
other
that? How that's
bodies.
possible?
Some items were cut off, and others appeared to be just taken. Lab tests also found that several of these clothing items were emitted high levels of radiation. And it is noted that the radiation must have been extremely higher since the bodies were exposed to running water for months before being found. At the funerals of the deceased, which they were open caskets.
Ew, open casket? Are you serious? They didn't have eyes.
If you saw the photos, you would probably be like, let's close the caskets.
Yo, let's close this one, bro. Just put his picture up, bro.
We can just remember them from our memories and not have to have this horrible fucking nightmare. Many people noticed the bodies were withered
That
and
is insane. Why would it be open casket? That's so nasty.
Mark of radiation poisoning,
Oh
and they
my
also
God.
had third-degree burns all on their bodies. 3 months into his investigation on May 28th, the prosecutor, Ivanov, abruptly just shut down the investigation. He was just like, I'm done. We're done. No, no. We're done.
He
Don't ask me
stopped?
questions. I don't know. It's
What?
probably an accident.
Avalanche.
Avalanche.
Oh, what? This is
Soviet
getting
authorities
weird.
ruled
Why'd they
6
stop?
deaths came from hypothermia and 3 came from physical trauma. Ivanov also claimed it was not his job to determine exactly what happened, but whether a crime had been committed. He concluded a crime had not been committed and homicide was not a factor in this case.
What?
And Ivanov ended his report on this, and I quote,
It should be concluded that the cause of the hiker's demise was an overwhelming force, which they were not able to overcome.
Is that a pretty good Russian accent?
Perfect.
But
Thank
what
you.
does that
This
mean,
vague
though? Like, y'all gotta
explanation
figure this
maddened
out.
families and Soviets alike, and it continues to mystify the Dyatlov researchers to this day. And after the investigation closed, all the files, photographs, and journals from the investigation were classified, and the area around the dead mountain became off limits to skiers for years. The exact area of the mountains where the young skiers were headed for, but never reached, was named Dyatlov Pass. Kind of crazy. So now we have a thing about these bodies with so many mysterious things happening. Granted, this was 1959. It's been a long time ago. Who knows what exactly happened? It's been shrouded in mystery for years. And these are just some of the theories that we have found online. A weapons test theory. The skiers died because they had stumbled into an area where secret weapons were being tested and were killed to leave no witnesses. This is what many of the families and skiers believe.
But there
And the
would be
radiation, the clothes,
evidence.
and the time period really makes this theory strong in people's minds because they think that maybe because of the time, people came across something that they shouldn't have, you know, and the government itself killed the skiers, and that's also why Ivanov also, or the investigator also just had to abruptly shut down the case so quick because who knows, maybe
there
some
would
kind
be
of guys came in
evidence
and they're like,
of
"You
a
better shut off
weapon
case.
used.
You hear? Okay, sorry, I will.
I doubt it was that casual, but you know. Then there was the American spy theory.
American
Others thought
spy?
that skiing group was killed by mercenaries, probably American spies. That seems a bit James Bondish, and I think
that's
was probably
crazy.
just inspired by the James Bond era films. I
insane.
don't know how much about that one. And then we go back to Yuri Yudin's theory, which continuously said that the deaths
Maybe
of the
American
classmates-
Spy could be something. They said this group of people were all smart, like scientists, like nuclear scientists, is what they said. That is important people to get rid of if you are enemy of war secretly. I don't know.
was not natural. Yuri was like,
But
this
it doesn't make sense even if whoever killed them, bro. It's like they can't pull off this and not have evidence of it being a human that did it. Like, you would have to leave some type of evidence, and the impact of a big speeding vehicle, but no impact showing on the outside, bro, is crazy. And the changing of clothes, bro, why would you even do that?
not a natural thing. And in 2013, before he died, he declared that everyone had been taken from the tent, held at gunpoint, and murdered. He believed that Dubanya
Held
had
at
her tongue
gunpoint?
cut out by the killers for being outspoken, and probably because she was a woman. That's just history. That's not me saying that. Women have gotten a bad rap in history. I'm a male feminist. The problem with these theories is that the snow does not lie. It would have been impossible to erase the signs of people and their equipment in the snow. Also, as much information has been declassified over the years, there has not been any evidence to suggest that there was a secret weapons base or an errant missile exploding in the area.
Yeah.
Then we have the mystery man KGB.
KGB.
Zolotaryov. The theory is that he was KGB and that connection inevitably got the group killed. There's a book published in Russia that claims that Zolotaryov had 2 other skiers who were KGB agents on a special assignment to meet the group of CIA operatives to furnish them with fake information. Samples of clothing contaminated with radioactive isotopes were to be offered as bait. The thought is that the CIA agents discovered the deception and killed the group and then staged the scene. But now we have people being like CIA agents trying to find nuclear testing stuff. They figured out they're being cheated, so then they kill people and redress them. And then there's an avalanche theory. An avalanche struck the tent, causing injuries and forcing the group to cut their way out and head into the forest for shelter. The slope was determined too low to generate an avalanche, though with high enough winds that could have changed things. But there was no avalanche debris found. Also, the damage done to the 3 bodies were so debilitating that there was no way that they could have gotten to the stream bed if they sustained them in the tent. And there were no signs of the bodies being dragged. And then my personal favorite theory, which is the Yeti theory. The most entertaining theory and quite popular is that the group was attacked by a Yeti.
Oh my god.
The contributing factor to the theory is because of the final photograph found in the Theobald Briganol's camera, which reveals a dark figure advancing through the snowy forest. Apparently,
there's a photo
the
of something?
was joking about Yetis a few hours before they had died. There was also a satirical article about Yetis seen in the area on the Ural Mountains.
They found the Yeti?
Which
Oh my god, Yeti exists.
But it could have also been, it was a joke. If they saw the parodies of it, it could have been people that they were staging it and he took a photo of it.
Oh man.
Who knows? Tigers, brown bears, a more realistic version of the Yeti theory. The state some of the bodies were left in, especially the ones with crushed chest and those missing their eyes and tongue, led some to believe animals got into the campers. If a bear wandered into the campsite,
but
it could be a reason
there would be evidence. There would be claw marks. There would be teeth marks. There would be something to tell you an animal did this, bro.
Fled in the snow without their clothes.
It would be easy to conclude, bro. Even a person that doesn't do autopsies would be able to tell what happened to the person.
Seems a little more realistic, but then again, I feel like you wouldn't see the bear tracks. There's just no other tracks. That's why I'm like, are you sure? The bad vibrations theory.
And the tracks disappear at some point. Like, yeah, we didn't see no animal tracks.
Writer and filmmaker Donnie Ekar suggests that a high winds passing over the mountains created infrasound, and that this induced such terror that the skiers fled the tent, and then paranoia took hold, and the cold
infrasound? Is that real?
Deaths. If they ran out from fear, why weren't they?
Something made them trip. So infrasound is like the closest thing I can say to what happened. I don't even know what that means, but something made them go crazy, bro. Like they tripped out, took their clothes off, folded it up, bro. Like the thing is, like, it's not even like crazy thrown off clothing. They took it off and folded it, bro, and put it down like before they left the tent. That's the crazy part too. So you know, everyone in there kind of talked about it. They agreed and they started doing it. They started taking it off, fold it up, open the tent. We're gonna go outside naked. Unless before they went crazy, they folded their clothes off because they was about to all get freaky together, bro. That's the only reason everybody getting butt naked in a tent, bro. Like they was just wilding. All right, we're gonna take it there. And then while they're already naked, maybe they go crazy. Then they go crazy. Or maybe that's when they panic. But even when y'all about to get freaky, bro, you're not about to just fold your clothes off, bro. You just taking it off, bro. You just taking it off. You don't care. The folded part is crazy because that means like it's planned. You are calmly doing something. It's calm. You folded it, opened your tent, and then you started running butt naked. I don't know, bro. That's the weird part.
They wearing any clothes though?
It's something to do with their psychology went crazy.
Paradoxical undressing occurs during fatal hypothermia, where the person suffering from
hypothermia
become way too.
Maybe they were in the tent, got so cold they started all losing it. Somebody was so crazy they convinced everyone, bro, maybe we need to take our clothes off. Maybe that's what happened. They were all freezing and stuck in this blizzard in the tent, and they all were together going crazy from the hypothermia. And then one was crazy enough to convince them to take their clothes off, leave. But then the injuries happen is what's insane.
hot, on fire even, and they start to take off their clothes because in their mind they're burning alive, but really their body is freezing it.
Wait, what did you just say? You feel like you're on fire?
Occurs during fatal hypothermia, where the person suffering from it feels the body become way too hot.
Too hot. That has to be what happened. That makes a lot of sense. So, like, hypothermia, when you're, like, fatally experiencing hypothermia, you actually feel hot and you take your clothes off. That sounds like, but, like, the part where they fold the clothes is insane.
Fire even, and they start to take off their clothes because in their mind they're burning alive, but really their body is freezing to death. But
No, but if you're burning alive, you would panically throw your clothes off, you know?
that's what I'm saying. All of them had that.
Yeah, all of them. That's the crazy part. They lost their mind. They lost their mind.
The heat theory. Carbon monoxide poisoning.
Or they were on drugs.
From the heater they used. This could cause the group to not be thinking clearly and make bad choices. Though
The heat, did they have a stove in there? They had a stove in their thing? Was there carbon dioxide poisoning that happened in there? No, but that puts you to sleep, right? That doesn't make you crazy, right?
it doesn't really explain anything else that happened. You know, the bludgeoning, all that other stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or the Mansi mushroom theory,
Drugs, see what I said? It leads back to drugs.
which the Mansis sometimes hung hallucinogenic mushrooms off trees to dry. There's a theory that the
Ooh.
skiers ate the mushrooms without realizing
Oh my god, they were all tripping.
and succumbed to sudden madness, which let me
Couldn't we check their stomach, or like wouldn't we have known an autopsy of like drug use?
tell you. If you've ever seen the movie Climax, that's
I
a
never
movie
did.
about a theater group. Someone spikes the punch at a theater group with
What?
LSD or something, and
What?
it causes absolute chaos, and it turns into this very violent thing. You never
Oh, I gotta see that. That sounds insane. Oh, that sounds insane. It just immediately reminded me of an episode. This doesn't spoil the show heavy at all. An episode of Snowfall. Someone spiked the punch at a party, bro. And it's just it's not even a really like plot changing episode. It's just goofy. That's what it reminded me of too. I might need to see that movie Climax.
know. Could be some weird
That sound like that one gets crazy.
hallucinogenic. I mean, especially if they did it all as a group. Maybe they made some kind of tea out of it. Who knows? Could be very deal. And then they sit there and they gouge their own eyes out or something like that. But I feel like you would see that in their hands or something.
Yeah, it
30
would be
years
proof.
later, prosecutor Ivanov, now retired, published an article claiming that when he was compiling his investigative reports in 1959, he had been pressured to not include his views on what he thought had happened. And you already know where we're going with this.
Not to
The title of his
include
article,
aliens.
Enigma of the Fireballs.
Fireballs.
That's a sick article name. Holy sh**. His article goes on to claim that skiers have been
Aliens.
killed by heat rays or fireballs
Oh,
caused
no.
by UFOs.
Oh,
baby.
no.
Aliens. He recalls
Hey.
finding it suspicious that he and his colleagues were even asked to test the victim's items for radiation. And later, when he wrote a letter asking his superiors why radiation was relevant, and he was told that the deaths were accidental. By this time,
What?
the official files had been released and it had become one of the most celebrated mysteries of the Soviet era. And it has spawned tons of theories to what actually happened. And the Russian Prosecutor General's office official count for theories is 75. 75. official
75 theories.
That's
Oh
a
my
lot.
God.
The constant continuous theme of this
Yeah,
video
we
is
not
what
breaking down
really
all the-
happened. There are multiple theories with motives and some with
Yeah.
evidence, but many of them seem to run into partial issues. What about multiple theories converging and occurring together? Or maybe some unknown supernatural force got to them. But I have to ask, what do you think happened to him out there?
Man, I don't
the
know.
official answer that
I
no
don't
one's happy
know.
with is in 2019, Russia opened the case back up and they officially marked it as an avalanche. Which
Avalanche.
could explain cutting open their tent to try to crawl out because the other parts may be sealed up, but it doesn't explain the fractures, to my opinion. It doesn't
Yeah.
really explain why the eye
The brutality of it. Unless you want to say avalanche, hypothermia, freezing cold. But they said the curvature of the slope isn't where they were at, isn't where an avalanche would hit at, unless it was windy. So avalanche hits, hypothermia hits, they get extremely cold in their tent. And then where they want to take their clothes off, they go crazy. Then they get out. What would need to happen is a second avalanche happens, pushes them so fastly into a tree or something that can explain the injuries, and then the avalanche continues to push them into somewhere else. Eyes and mouth gone, could be somebody passed by and took that, or that's so weird, but I don't know. Somebody took it. Flesh in his mouth, hand from his flesh was in his mouth. Maybe he was trying to, during the avalanche, trying to cover his mouth from getting suffocated by snow. Maybe he was encapsulated in snow, and but that would further suffocate you, like covering your mouth that tightly. I don't know, bro. Like, bro, it's no way to explain the things that are going on.
Bullets are gone. Why the tongue's missing? Why they're all in different directions, and why some of them were up in a tree. There's skin up in trees. And they're all switching clothes. Could it be that they just threw on whatever was closest around them to try to stay warm?
Doesn't make
or
sense.
Something more at play. If my imagination could run wild, I'd like to think that it was a supernatural force somehow. I don't know how. It's the funnest option. And it also makes me feel like, I don't know, at peace with them a little bit. Like if something did supernatural happen to them, it's something that they totally could not have controlled, and it wasn't man-made. It was just like this inexplicable force, which is the same with an avalanche or whatever else. But these deaths just look so harrowing. And honestly, the Dyatlov Pass is one of the craziest mysteries I've ever heard.
Aliens experimented, took their eyes and stuff to figure out how we work.
From 2019 is not satisfactory
before they come
to a lot
back.
of people. So I'm curious to see what happens. Without further ado, that was the Dyatlov Pass. I hope you all have your mystery hats on and you go try to find answers yourself. And please report back to them in this comment section, because
I'm gonna find the answers.
Also, smashing
I'm
that
going to
like
Russia.
button, ringing the bell lets us know.
I'm gonna find
the
answers myself.
If people still even do that, but it doesn't matter. Thank you all so much for watching today.
Hit that like button.
Have a good rest of your
Hit
day.
that like button.
If you go skiing,
hit that like button. Yeah. Okay, Papa Me. Hey. Okay, y'all, that is the end of the Russia's Most Haunting Mystery. Can y'all solve the mystery? Because I sure can't. I actually remember this case, but I forgot majority of what happened until he re-explained it. Still insane the second time hearing that story, bro. And the fact that it's real life, like, you hear a lot of theories and stories, and then people make it into stuff that's bigger than what it is. But this is an actual, like, real life human story. And the fact that they documented on journals, pictures, and someone left in the group that was supposed to go and lived and was able to go and identify the friends, like, makes it all real, bro. It makes everything real. And the fact that everything was so weird and unexplainable. People swapped clothes. Everyone agreed to get naked and run out the tent, cut themselves out of the tent that's keeping them warm, take their clothes off into the snow, and then unexplainable damages. Insane, bro. There's no way I'm solving this. I ain't that good of a detective, bro. But yeah, that's it for this upload, y'all. This is a YouTube reaction. If you are a free Patreon member, bro, you can drop any link and we will watch it in the next reaction. That is it for this, though. Thank you so much for watching. I will see y'all next time.